Hey everyone, I'm so glad you're joining me for painting the snowy owl today. It's Sunday fun day, right? So we're going to have fun painting. I am going to see who pops in and just say hello when you come in. Let me know that you can hear me okay. I'd love to know where you're watching from. And do remember that share it with your friends because you don't have to watch right now and paint with me. This whole video will be put up live later on, and you can paint anytime you want. Hey Jess, thanks for popping in. I am going to get the camera set on my canvas so you can really just watch me from above. I just wanted to say hi to everybody as they're coming in first. I did a little video the other day for tracing your design on the canvas. If you have not done that, you can still do that. I'm going to try to go a little slower today. I know last time I think I went a little speedy. I'm in Mass too, Jess. I'm in Central Mass in Clinton. Where do you live? I'd love to see how far and wide we're reaching today. Hi, Denise. Thanks for popping on. I'm going to pull this up on my computer at the same time. Hey, Joanne, you found us. Hi, Maeve. Hello. I wish we saw you in person, Joanne, last week, but next time, okay? I can't wait to see you and catch up. And I can't wait to see everyone's paintings today. So I'm going to, in a minute, turn the camera onto my canvas. Oh, Franklin, you're not too far. You're just down the road. So you can see pretty close what I'm doing. I'm going to have the comments up on my laptop, so I'm going to try to watch both. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them in there. I'll try to address them as I go. I will always come back later on as you're working, or if you're watching at another time, or you want to stop the video, stop watching today and finish up another time. I will keep an eye on those comments. Feel free. Hi, Joan. I'm going to get your kit down to you probably tomorrow. Hi, Kay. Kansas. Wow, that's fun to see where people are from. I appreciate you all popping in. Hi, Denise. I've got to stop saying so much, but I'm going to work on that. So anyway, direct message me questions at any time if you would like. And like I said, I'm going to watch the comments as we're painting. Yeah, Trish, you can go ahead and trace that now if you want. And I'm going to kind of go along a little slower. And you'll be able to catch up. So keep letting me know how you're progressing. And did you see my video about tracing? You can very easily just take a pencil and just rub on the back of the paper where the lines are. Not the whole paper, just where the lines are. Pop that on. Even if you just get your owl on, that's okay. We could paint that brown fence right over the snow if we need to. Lots of times I will just freehand this. I paint the moon over the sky that's already on there. If you look closely, and as we're painting that white owl, I know he's white, but I started him out as a light blue. Joanne, yeah, I included a tracing of the painting when on the supply list, but honestly, it's okay. Why don't I, once we get going, if you want to just kind of trace an oblong shape where that owl goes, we can work around that. We can touch it up after. It'll just get you going. When I did just trace mine in about a second before because I had forgotten. So, and really, Joanne and Maeve, watch as I'm painting, do the background, do what you can, and remember you can always work on it later by watching the video once I download it and upload it to Facebook. I also always upload it to YouTube. So if you want to share it with someone that's not on Facebook, or you want to follow me on YouTube, you will see all my videos as I go along. Hi, Melody. Hey, Fred and Megan. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know where you're watching from. Oh, cool. Take your time. I'm going to get started kind of slow so people can go along at their own pace. Thank you, Craig, for printing. And hi, Jim. Happy birthday. Belated birthday. So anyhow, let me get you pulled up on my laptop. Let me get you facing down on the canvas, and just let me know if you have any questions, and just put it in the comments of the Facebook page here. So I'm just going to turn you around so you can see. And do let me know, because I know last time we had a little trouble. I was upside down at first. I will fix this so that we're the right way. I'm not sure of that orientation, but I'm going to bring it up on my... Get your tracing on if you need to. I'll go over the colors and the palette and everything in a minute. Okay, so I have a little delay on my end, but it looks like I am upside down. Hang on, guys. Okay, we're getting better. Let me adjust my stand here a little bit. Next to you. I'll keep Alrighty, I'm going to see your comments here now and let me know how this all looks to you. Upside down, yeah, okay, Denise, I think it's fixed now. Keep on top of me, let me know. These recordings are a little new. I'm doing them through Facebook Live at the moment. I have some other options I'm working on, but I just wanted to get this one started today. So I'm going to take my time because I know last time, like I said, I was a little speedy. So you can see my canvas is here. I got the little tracing on. I don't need to trace on the moon. We can just freehand that. A lot of this painting can really be freehanded. So just watch, watch and follow along as best you can and ask me questions. I'm going to start filling in my sky because I want to watch your comments at the same time. So feel free to start when you're ready. I do think I might have neglected to put, I'm not sure, on the supply list an old toothbrush, which I use later on to spatter on some snow. I will show you how to do it with a bristle brush as well. But if you don't have one handy, you can always put that on later on. It's an easy process, and it's a lot of fun, actually, for any kind of winter paintings, snowmen, whatever you want to do. So the colors, which I had put on the supply list, but I'll go over them again with you. For my blue, I put out way too much paint. You don't have to follow my lead there. Do as I say, not as I do. I like a dark blue, but a primary blue or a phthalo blue works fabulous for any of these dark blue skies. I also love this blue mixed with like a primary or a phthalo green. It makes a beautiful ocean color. Sometimes when you have a navy or a different blue, and you might notice it today, so some of them have like a little bit of a white in them, and it doesn't come out as dark and true as this blue here. I did mix a little black in some spots to get it really dark. All of your shades are going to be a little different. You're all using different supplies, and that is what is nice about this, especially when we're in classes. It's so nice to see how everybody's paintings come out a little different. We're not all trying to copy mine exactly, or anyone else's. So have fun, do whatever you would like. You could take this and make it any kind of owl. You could make it any kind of scene. We're going to do it this way, but please feel free to keep the tracing and experiment with it. Anyway, the blue, the white, black, just a dark brown, an orange that I highlight the fence with, and some yellow for that moon. And let me push this over because maybe you can see the original painting too. As I go along and get a little bit more techie with the recording of these, I will try to have a little inset with the painting itself as well. And I'm going to just refresh my page because I want to make sure I see your comments. I always wonder, maybe even a Zoom might be a good idea where we can interact with each other. I just don't know how that would work right yet. Anyone has any suggestions, please, I would love to hear them. And we went over the colors. Brushes, I told you to kind of use what you had. I like for canvas painting a bristle brush. It's a little stiffer. This is like a 12, I believe, 10. You can always use a wide acrylic flat. That works as well. Use what you have. I usually use a variety of rounds and flats. I don't use expensive brushes, as I mentioned, for my acrylic painting. The canvases do a number on your brushes. The inexpensive brushes work just as good. And if you take care of now, is just going to paint the blue background. I paint the edges of my canvas as I go. That finishes it off nicely, and you can just hang it up when you're done. You don't need to frame it unless you want to. And what I'm going to do is paint my edges first, so just to have that done. I'm not super careful, so please let me know if this is okay. You can see me okay, hear me okay. Acrylic ways, you will see that I will let it dry, work on something else, come back, and give it another coat. Oh, thanks, Patty. I was wondering, it was kind of quiet. The fabric store in Bolton, the quilting store. Oh my God, I'm sure you've been in there lots. So many projects, so many fun things. I think I have to put on the brakes a little bit because I want to do everything. How many of you are like that? Do you all enjoy, besides painting, what do you? I've been doing some felting, which is so fun. Bev's an amazing jewelry artist. Oh, she's an amazing artist and craftsperson for so many different things. So can you see how see-through that is a little bit? That's okay. There's nothing we can do about it. You don't want to put it on really heavy and try to get it to cover because it will take forever to dry. Put it on nice and thin, and we'll do another coat where we'll add some black and get that nice and dark. So we are basically, regardless if I'm working in oils or watercolors or whatever, I have that sort of way I work. But again, you'll see me jumping around to base coat things if I think it's going to need multiple coats. Hi, Joan. Oh, Joan, I don't know why it freezes on my end too, and then it comes right back. It's a Facebook thing. I don't know why that happens. I wonder maybe I'm a little far from my router, but if I don't touch the camera, I think we'll be okay. When I touch it and switch it back to a front, my view, sometimes it stops for a minute, but I have found to just let it come back in. Oh, Denise, does yours keep freezing? Mine's been pretty good. Let me watch. I'm watching it on the laptop as well, even with the delay. It seems like it's going along, but we'll do the best we can. So is everyone at the stage where they're painting their blue background on? I just want to keep an eye on and make sure I'm not going too fast. You can see I'm not using a small detail brush. I'm going around the fence post and the owl the best I can. It's not imperative that you follow my lines perfectly. I just that sky. It'll be the same technique you'll see in lots of my paintings. I painted the blue a few coats. Get a little black in there to get it kind of dark. And then either for stars or snow, look at what I've done already. I've made a goof up. I went right over his tail there. Oh, no, I didn't. I guess I didn't. Okay. We can always fix any mistakes. Don't panic. Yeah, I just froze up again there myself, so I'm not sure. When I go to rewatch them after, it seems like the whole video is there. Let me know if it's resuming where it left off or you're missing something, because I will be glad to go back and tell you what I'm up to. So I'm now just using a little smaller brush to fill in these little areas under the fence post to where the little white snow caps are back there. Use whatever brushes are comfortable for you. A round works, a flat, whatever you like. Experiment. And that's the only way you'll really figure out what you're comfortable with for brushes. But again, these are pretty inexpensive brushes, but they certainly do the trick. And you don't need a lot of them. So there we are. We'll just get those little corners in. I'm just going to get those little bits on the side under the fence there. There. It's going to take a little while to dry. So in the meantime, I'm going to just rinse off my brush. And I'm going to keep that other one there because we're going to use that in a minute. But I'm rinsing off this little one. And any of the areas in my painting that are snow, and like I said, even the owl, if you look carefully, this light blue is the color that I am painting the snow first. Then heavier coats in areas of white on top when it's dry. And the reason being, okay, it's snow. If we painted that all white and another coat of all white, think of how flat it would be. There would be no dimension. You could go in and wash in some blues, but it's a much easier approach is to just paint it all light blue, and then we'll go in and put shades of white. And we're going to do the same thing with the snowy owl. Can you see he's sort of blue underneath all that white? So now, to get a light blue to do that with, I'm going to pull aside some white, just giving me a nice light blue. I'm not taking any blue. I'm using what's in the brush, and that will certainly work. Wherever you see white snow, we're going to do that light blue. Start with the edges, just to get them out of the way. And it just, like I said, finishes off the painting nicely. And I know it looks a little crazy, light blue snow, but you'll see the technique. Also, if you're ever painting and you want to dry an area, like say you were ready to move on and this was still wet, I do keep a hairdryer handy next to me sometimes. If I want to speed it up, you could just shoot it with the hairdryer and and off you go with your paint being dried. Again, if you are more comfortable with a outline your edges and then fill in with the bigger one, feel free. I don't want to take the time because I don't really think it's precise, but whatever, again, what you're comfortable with. And I'd love to hear your techniques too, what you like to use for little shortcuts and how you go about painting. And I'm just going to take, oh, Denise, thank you. Hi, Lena. Hey, Tara. I'm glad you made it. I don't know if you heard me right now. You can certainly watch this video later. You could get started. You could observe. You could just hang out with to have you with us here painting. So please, you can also share. I think there's a button somewhere. You can share this live video right now with your friends. If you find that and that's possible, I'd love that. I'd love to. I'm doing all these free classes because I would like to get people out painting. I know for me, especially during these times, we're stuck inside a lot. I need to have something creative, some creative outlet. I think it's great for our well-being. It always brings me happiness when I'm working on something. Let's see, I just painted over the fence, but it doesn't much matter. There's a few little pieces peeking out behind that fence. You can just hit them, like I said, with any brush you're working with. Just kind of. So where's everybody at now? You've got your piece traced on, I think, by now, right? Oh, Glenda, that's a great idea. You could do it at your leisure and watch it and take your time. Could have some friends over or do a Zoom thing or something. So is everyone getting caught up? I want to work at the right pace for you all. And just let me know if I'm going too fast. I think we can't work too fast today because the paint's taken a little while to dry, but let's just leave it. So where are we at? We have a base coat of the sky. We've got a light blue base coat of the snow. I don't want to touch the fence yet because it's so wet, I'll put my hand in it. Let's work on, since we have a light, it is a little tricky because, you know, you can't put your hand down flat like this so that you can watch me. If you're more comfortable on an easel, I would probably work on an easel if I was, you know, outdoors painting or standing up and painting. But feel free to work whatever way is comfortable for you. You could even take, so you don't have an easel, say, you could just take anything, you know, any little jar or whatnot, prop it up underneath your canvas and you'd have it at a little angle. I don't mind. I'm used to doing crafts and things. I'm used to working with it flat. I do prefer that sometimes. If I have not gone over all of the equipment we're using and the supplies, please let me know. I will elaborate. Oh, good, Trish. You got working on the snow. Good. Oh, Denise, that's cool. Let me know. I would love screenshots or pictures. I changed the settings on the page. I think you can go right in onto the Facebook page here and post your pictures. I'd love to see your paintings, your in process, your Zooms. It's really fun for me to see that. So I am going to, let's look at our owl. Let's see what we're going to do here. So the background base coat for the owl is really just going to be all blue and these yellow eyes. Yellow acrylic is really translucent, so we're going to need quite a few coats. So I think I will have yellow on those eyes. Around the eyes and things of my owl. So I'll go back to my littler brush, just the flat. I don't want him too blue, so I'm taking this light blue that we have here, maybe put a little bit more white in it, and just fill the body in. That looks really light. I always adjust my colors on the fly. I can't really tell on the palette sometimes. I think it needed a tiny bit more blue, so I just kind of mix a little bit in here and there. There's no right or wrong to this, people. Do whatever. That is how we all develop our own style. We doesn't have the assembly line at the end with everybody's paintings the same. These little lines we traced on, don't really worry about them. We can just add our white highlights and gray on top, so no worries. Just paint everything around the eyes and around the beak the best you can. The beak is going to be black. We can cover up anything with that, but we may as well just leave it so that we can see where it is a little bit. If you notice, I am blending my blue and white really haphazardly on my palette. I am not carefully taking it and mixing a perfect shade. The best is when it's a little darker, a little lighter, pure white. When you go to paint it on, you're going to have a nice variety on your canvas that way. It looks a little better than it would look paint by numbered if you had all little solid colors. I love the way this looks already. Look at it. It's already cool and snowy looking because I did not. Usually I would set my hand down here. That's why everything I own has paint on the sleeves. So whatever is comfortable for you. Can always use, you know, if you need to, like when you're painting and need like a mall stick or something, you could you could do this, and that way you're keeping your hand out of the paint. There's all sorts of little techniques you can use. So guys, who's painting here today? Have you painted much before? I know I had some ladies last time, it was their first painting experience. Where are you at in your painting careers? And don't, oh, I'm always turning things upside down and sideways. Really, feel free to do that too, of course, to get what you need to. There we are. He's pretty well covered now with that light blue. Looking a little white in spaces, and so I'm just going to pull a little darker blue. This whole owl, he's still wet. You could go in here and shade and add details, and it's really a nice way to do it when the paint underneath is wet, because you can get it all to blend nicely. So there's our owl, base coated. That's all we need to do for him. His little claws, it's hard to see on the fence, they're just black, and then we're going to bring some of the fur, the feathers down over it. We just have to let that dry. What I'm going to do is rinse my brush off. Do keep on top of rinsing off your brushes. I keep some paper towels to the side here, and I just get the water off the brush, and it just keeps them from, you know, if you have the paint drying on them for too long, the paint will dry down in the ferrule, and then will make your brush all crazy hair and harder to get a nice line with. So that's why I try to rinse them off. I'm not always the best at it, but I try to keep them clean as we go. Now, I'm going to put some yellow. Like I told you, that yellow is going to be super translucent. So I'm going to get some in his eyes right now, just as a first coat. We may end up using 3 or 4 coats for the yellow. So just pull a little yellow aside. You're going to have those big black pupils in there. It's not like you have to get every bit of it. You could paint the whole eye yellow if it's easier for you. I am putting my hand on the wet paint here, but I do want to get some yellow on there. It's covering pretty well, though. I'm a little surprised. A tip for you when you're painting, and you have some of these translucent colors, I add a little white sometimes. It gives you a nice base. If we were painting these eyes over the dark blue, say, or a darker color, I would almost paint it white first, let it dry. Then when you go on your yellow, it'll really pop. If you were trying to cover dark blue or black or even dark gray with a light color like yellow, it would take a zillion coats. So remember, if you're painting something dark and you want a lighter thing on top, actually we will do that with the moon. I'll show you this, actually the technique. I do it white first and then go on with yellow. So let those yellow eyes dry. Hi, Kay, thank you. Oh, I'm happy to do it. I would love, there is another painting. If you missed my Christmas, it's the red truck with the tree that everybody loves. I did that for Christmas time. It's still on the page, so if you want to paint that, even though it's after the holidays, that video is there. It's also on my YouTube channel. Tinker's Cart Art is the YouTube channel. And I'm going to try to do 2 free classes a month. And I'm going to have some special paid classes, which will be very reasonable. It'll be $10. But I'm going to start out with some free ones just to get people involved and see my style and see how I work. And I really appreciate your kind words. Thank you. So this is pretty well dry. Little bit here and there. It's wet, but let's give it another coat. I will wash my brush off now because I did use white paint. And I don't want white in my sky yet. I want it to be a pretty dark blue. And we will add some white little bits, which I'll show you after, but let's just get it base coated again. It's that dark blue straight now, so we're going to pull it over. My palette's probably messier than any of you. Oh, paper plate, that's what I use for a palette. I meant to tell you that too. Paper plate, you can use, I have found at the dollar store lately those styrofoam, looks like the meat packing trays, which are kind of handy too. Sometimes those are nice to use. I let it dry sometimes and work right on top of it, so I don't, throw them away every time I paint. I do try to reuse everything, and once the paint is dry on here, it won't re-wet and ruin anything on top of it. And so I'm going a little faster, and I didn't mention, when I'm painting a big area like this, I'm not going back and forth or up and down. You would come out with some really streaky, and just want it to look natural. In order to get some of these lights and darks, See, like I'm using like a little crisscrossy stroke. Just anything that's not in one direction. I just kind of go back and forth. Got a little boo-boo there. And it just looks a little more natural, and it will really show later when I show you how we put a little light in there. Almost looks like a little bit of those galaxy sky paintings that you've seen, which are really fun to do. I do them in watercolor. I do some classes in those too, so I'm going to expand, and if people would like, I'm going to do some watercolor classes too, which some simple beginner ones. But I do love that. I've done quite a few classes with that galaxy sky, and it's really fun. People love it, and then we can paint something in front of it, something northern lighty even. Not that I'm really thrilled with the cold weather, but it is still winter, so I guess we'll do some winter paintings. I don't know if you saw, we had the birch tree and cardinal painting, and this owl, and we sort of had a little vote on the Facebook page, and the owl won, but that cardinal and birch tree painting is so popular. I will offer that. That'll maybe be the next one we do. I'll show it to you when we're done painting here, and you can see it. It'll be on the Facebook page. I'm not as worried when I'm doing the second coat of covering every tiny bit. I'm not even gonna worry about those little bits. I'm just gonna get in the middle there. Because again, in the background when we're done, we want some light and dark areas. I don't want it to be a solid color. Again, it would look very paint by number-y there. Okay. So that is the second coat. I'm just looking here and hoping this didn't freeze up again. Let me know if you've lost me, because it looks a little odd in my view on the computer. So second coat there, let it dry. Once it's dry, this coat will add some of the darks and some of the lights, and when it's dry, we'll put the moon on. This is still a tiny bit wet, so we'll let it go. I think it might be a good time. I know I'm jumping around, but like I told you, I like to get the whites of the canvas covered, and we will probably need a few coats of that fence, so it might be a good time just with our brown to just fill in the fence posts. And again, you might find it more comfortable to use a little round brush. I'm going to try this flat brush. You know, the great thing about these flat brushes is you could get a nice wide stroke with that. But if you turn it on the chisel edge, can you see my palette there? You can get a really thin line. They're very versatile. I really like the way you can get a wide line and a thin line. So I'm going to kind of carefully, but I know I will end up with paint on me and just fill in my fence post. Do you see how I'm taking a brush that's about the width of that and just kind of making the post? Not a big deal if you want to just do it with little strokes, with your round brush. I don't care how you get there with filling it in. And sometimes it takes a little practice, some of these brush strokes. Don't get upset and say, oh, I can't do that, because if you've only done it once or not done it at all, no, you can't do that, but you can practice at it. I really have a lot of, and I talked about it last time, and I will do this, some classes with the brush strokes. You can just take a brush stroke and make a leaf or a flower, all with just one brush stroke with different color paints on your brush at the same time. Those take practice, but we'll have some classes and some exercises, and you can just practice it. And I do find sometimes for me, I have to move the canvas and tilt it and to get certain areas. So don't worry about trying to do it flat like this. You do whatever works for you. Hi, Patsy. No worries. We welcome latecomers too. And as you might know, this will be uploaded shortly after I finish, and you can paint anytime you want. Hang out with us, paint a little bit if you want, but if not, you can come back and watch it anytime. How is everybody's weekend going? Can't believe it's Sunday already. I don't know where the time goes. Can you believe it? This whole past year with everything we've been through, and it still feels like it's flown by. Crazy. I'm glad we're into the new year though, and hopefully things will get better little by little. I'm always optimistic, so that's what we have to be, I suppose, in times like this. Appreciate the little things, appreciate any of the good things. I mean, let's look back on our year. Look at your camera roll. I'm sure you're going to find some memories that are wonderful, and the little things that have happened out of all of this. We have to examine them and appreciate them. Otherwise, we would go crazy. But I do love, like I told you, I love to paint. I love to create. It keeps me sane. It keeps me busy. And I love to share it with you guys. So I appreciate you turning up today. If you just came in recently, please just tell me where you're from. I'd love to know how far we are reaching with our painters today. Please share with your friends. I would appreciate it. If you happen to pop on and did not know about the class, I put a link up in the description for the sign up. You can sign up at any time. That just triggers the supply list to be sent to you. So if you want the supply list and the tracer for this painting and you haven't signed up, it's okay. It doesn't have to be signed up before now. Just sign up, and so you can get those that information. I am going to carry my painting over to the side just to finish it off. You can tell I'm being a little haphazard. I like the way a painting comes out if you're not fussing and being too careful. It doesn't look too overworked and stiff. I want it to be fun and happy and have some movement to it. Can you see the yellow is still a little wet? It takes a little while to dry. Again, hit it with the hairdryer if you must. But I think we have things to work on in between, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm going to let you guys get caught up a little bit and let that background dry. We have a pretty wet painting here. I could very well go with the snow now, but I want to let that brown dry a tiny bit. I might just, while we're got everything else on there, a little brush, a little round. This is probably a 1, but whatever you have. A little black, and that's just going to be his little, I want to get his little toenails on there now, so that when we're painting the feathers, we can pull it on top of them. You'll hardly even see them. It's just a series of 3 little comma-shaped lines. So that's that. So we're going to let that dry a little bit. And I'm going to take a look and let me know how you guys are doing. Wisconsin, Amy. Cool. Oh, Amy, there's no behind. Don't worry. Like I tried to emphasize, everyone at their own pace. The video's not going anywhere. You can't really stop and start it while I'm live, but once it's done and I upload it, you can stop and start it and work at your own pace. It will be here on the page, and it will also be on YouTube. So please, I know it's hard. No matter how slow I go, it's going to be too fast sometimes for people. But this is going to take a few minutes to dry, so we will have a little break. If anyone is done and they didn't have their little toothbrush, because I might have neglected to put it on the list, you could go in and gather that up. Make yourself a hot cocoa, or what time is it? It's time you could have a little mimosa or something too, or a Bloody Mary while you're painting. Alrighty. We've got quite a few people watching today. I appreciate that. And again, if you did just pop in, remember to put anything in the comments you need help with, or even send me a private message. That is fine. I'm going to let this dry a little bit, and I think what I'll do is maybe show you some other paintings and things. That cardinal painting, if you haven't seen it, I think I have it behind me. I'm going to show you some other winter paintings I have here and some ideas for future classes. And I would absolutely love it if you gave me your opinion. And let's see, this is, I'm going to just probably put it here instead of moving the camera. So this is the winter birch trees and the red cardinals, the red berries. This is a super, super, super simple painting. We don't even need to trace it. It's so easy. You paint your whole background with the blue and white, kind of like we're doing, only not dark. Although I have had people do this in that really dark blue and it looks gorgeous. I've had them do it in such a pale blue, you hardly see it, and it's still nice. It's a matter of just painting that entire canvas in that blue. We could even actually have that done before class. And then with just a pencil, I don't know what my pencil is, but then or chalk actually, pencil or chalk. You got your blue canvas, the paint is dry. You just chalk 3 lines, 2 lines. And then with the brush like we used this with, white, white, white. I might have put another coat on the edges, but you can see that blue background right through. And that's a nice technique. If you worked and struggled and did 3 coats of perfect white for your perfect birch tree, it again would look paint by number. It would not have the dimension of the light and the dark. This is very quickly done. Then we just put on a few little branches with our round brush or the chisel edge of the square. A little wash of gray, some black, and that's it for a birch tree. the little dots down here, just the end of your brush in red paint. And these guys, I could give you a tracing and you could trace them, but really, you're just going to just do, they're so easy. Let me just show you real quick because we are waiting for people to catch up and we're waiting for that paint to dry. These little guys are nothing but, you can kind of do an oval. You can see me there, right? Kind of like a little oval, a little round head. That's how I start him. I fill this all in with the red. You can just give him that little point, little wing. These little tail feathers are nothing but strokes with the brush. You don't have to sketch them. You could just paint them right on. They're pretty simple. The little detailing on top is not much. Really a great painting. And you know what's great? This painting, we've done it many times in class, and I have given the suggestion to people, and it really works out nicely. If you just take a photograph of that painting, have them printed up at CVS or wherever, and then just double-side tape them to the front of a blank card. They make a fabulous Christmas card. You will impress all your friends, and they will just, it's just so nice and personal. And you can do that with any painting, like picture this one, and they sell the blank cards and envelopes at Walmart or Michael's or I'm sure Amazon, and just a little double-side tape, pop it on the front, sign your name or write a little title, and people love them. So that is probably the next painting. What do you guys think? Do you like the cardinal painting? Yeah. So we'll do that next. Where are we at? We're at the end of January. So maybe for February, we'll do that painting. And then I have, this might be fun too. Let me grab this one for you. This is a snowman, because I still love snowmen all winter. But I've geared him, he's really tall and big, so I know I'm going to show him to you sideways. And he's good for Valentine's Day, right? How cute is that? We could do it on, you could do it on a long canvas like this. You could do them on a shorter one. I didn't mean to tell you, and I did in the supply list, you don't have to paint on canvas. If you have a piece of wood or a piece of slate or fabric, whatever you want, you could do this acrylic paint. It works well on any surface. So that would be a fun one. You can go to Michael's and Hobby Lobby and Joann's and wherever you can get canvas and get, I do love that long rectangle shape. He would be fun. So I wonder if we would have time to do, we maybe would want to do him first and then the cardinal. I don't know, but you guys let me know. And we can decide, because that's really fun. That would be cute to do on something small that you could just gift to someone for Valentine's Day. That is going to come fairly fast. So I'll get some ideas of what we could paint it on in addition to the canvas. And it would be a fun thing. Let's see. Others. Oh, these are just a couple of others. I don't think I'll have these this winter, because once we get past February, let's start thinking spring and St. Patrick's Day. But here's a couple of other of my winter paintings. And I am putting together some kits too, and it doesn't have to be such a large canvas. This is 11 by 14. 8 by 10 would be kind of nice too. Like you could paint one of each of those and hang them. So I am going to put together some kits that will include the canvas, the tracing, your paints if you need them, and I will do a little video, maybe not a live, just a recorded video that you can just access while you're painting at home. And those are all ideas I'm rolling around, so I would... Again, I always welcome your input. And I do have kits now. I don't know if you've seen the ceramics that we painted over Christmas. I have a lot of cute kits right now for Valentine's Day and for the kids. The little kit comes with the ceramic bisque pieces. We paint them with acrylic, so there's no need to fire them. And it comes with all the paints, the brushes, the little palette, the little cup, everything the kids need, or the big kids. Big response to the Valentine's kits, and I know, Joan, I'm going to drop yours off, but I will have more next week because we are out, but I'm pretty sure I'll have them by Wednesday. Anyway, enough of that. Our sky's still drying. You can always take, your painting and do this here. And again, when I started all the paint nights, it was the 6th thumb. Like, how many times have I gone to people's houses and they're in the garage or in the whatever? So I think the little ones are great, especially a seasonal one, because you have a little spot and you put your little painting there, and then spring comes and you put the spring one up, and Valentine's comes, you put the Valentine's up. So I think it's kind of nice to have littler ones. For the craft shops, I do love the little chunky paintings. Let me see. I think I have one right here. I love these little chunky paintings. This is one I did of my son and his dog in the car. And They come even smaller. They come on little easels. These are like little jewels. These would be so much fun to paint little ones, and these will make great kits too. So I have too many ideas and not enough time. Please give me your input, and I will yellow eyes, one more coat. Covered better than I thought. So I think one more little coat and you're good with those eyes. Maeve and Joanne, how are you guys doing? I'd love to. Lena. The snowman one before the Valentine's. The cardinal one before the Valentine's, do you mean? The snowman is the Valentine's one, but let me know. Yeah, and Patsy, I'll show you the little technique when we get to it here, like to paint painting. Joanne, okay, I'm trying to keep talking. I don't know if everyone wants to hear my voice all the time, but anyways, you'll do fine. I can do a little FaceTime with you after if you want. Anyway, we got that little coat there. Let those dry. We can play around with the snow down here while this is drying. I don't know why that second coat, I'm not really worried about rushing through like I was last time because it gives people a chance to catch up. And I've had nobody ever say, you're going too slow. So I'm trying to fill some time here so that we can all paint along together, really, instead of me going way ahead. So I'm happy for that. My painting of the little fire truck. Oh, that's a great idea. Did you see the ceramic truck that I painted like that? The little red ceramic truck? It is it right here somewhere? Anyway, I did a blue truck for ceramic one for Christmas with the Christmas tree. You've all seen that painting and ceramic piece and ornament and all the decor with the red truck. Well, I have anything yet, and I've meant to do it before, but I got, so here's the truck without the tree. Whenever I do these ceramic, really roughly and quickly, the rest of the truck, it's a cinch. It couldn't be easier. And look, now this one has a little camper. So the truck and the camper, and I am painting them for Valentine's Day. And I probably will do this, I don't know if I'll pop on live later. Sometimes I just pop on. I don't have anything scheduled. I just pop on, paint it. It goes a logo. You can kind of personalize. We had Christmas trees, we did so many, but these pieces are going to be fun. So watch for those. I'm not going to schedule it. I'm just going to pop on. I'll give you the information if you need ceramic trucks and campers. I have them. But that's something I've been meaning to do for Valentine's Day as well. If there were just more time. Okay, so let me work on the snow a little bit. I am going to just take whatever brush, if you have, I'm going to get enough. Any kind of little flat square brush. So I like to put on it's a little dimension fence posts is really a little snowbank. A little bit of snow would be right on top of them. Look at how easy I do that. I just put a big glob of white paint there. It's going to stay wet for a while. It's pretty thick. So while it is a little wet, you could really just take the white paint on your brush and really smooth it out. See, it's really kind of just turning into, there's a little bit behind, and this side kind of comes down and in front. So it goes this way or that way. I just start line, see the stiff line there? You can see my fence post here a little bit. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Coats of that white to get it a little thick. You can also use, they have like a modeling paste, and you can also add that if you really want like some dimension to your painting. Let me work back up here a little bit because this is just the blue we started with. Just kind of brush a little white over it here and there. Not anything I'm trying to do any special way. Wherever there's blue there, just a little white on that little snow. And now it's wherever you want. Wherever I see it, just put a little snowbank in there. Always just start with heavy paint, kind of wiggle it, you can see how now because of the blue in the background, it really looks like snow. And I did a few in front here. Same idea. See how much of a glob? I've got a big glob of white there. I just kind of pat it on there. Dry off that brush a little bit. And I want it like thick up here, but I just want to soften it down here. And you can see how there's hardly any paint on this brush. I can see the texture of the canvas. I like that look. I'm just brushing a little white, a little bit of a snowbank at the very bottom. I have that coming through here a little bit, maybe. Any little spot. So let me touch that up. Where I have that little brown showing through, I can just go over it again. And that's what I do to make the snow. Pretty simple. It's looking blue, very blue to me on my computer here. So I'm going to, if that's the case, I can see really blue areas here. I kind of like it a little bit, but if that bothers you, very little bit of white, just dry brush over it and you can get it a little bit less blue. It's whatever your, you know, whatever you like, whatever makes you happy. I have another coat, but I don't think I will. This is what I do is I'm just going to go across the top there. And then just, it is all up to you. I'm kind of partial to the flats, but a little round brush, if you're more comfortable, whatever it takes to get your paint on the top of your fence posts. And then it kind of just drips down a little bit. Please straight together. Each time I go back thicker. So I'm just going to take that white. Keeps getting interrupted. I don't know what it looks like on your interrupted. I sort of pause and try to we'll see how that is. But like I said, I haven't. But I just want to hope that you can. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Like I say, I have a new get a little more tech savvy with a few of the issues, but hopefully next time I will have a different way where I can even do a split screen and I'll be small over here and I could at least feel like I can see you guys and you can mostly see the painting. So bear with me. It does freeze up. It seems to come right back. Hi, Julie. Yeah, this is a fun one and you will enjoy. And let's see. I have no clue what like it is. Distance from the router, but okay. I think we're back. Okay, every rung, I do this too. I go and I just add the paint, thicker and thinner here and there. And there. That's about all you need on that. It needed a little pizzazz. It needed a little... This is a very limited palette. And on this one, we're going to do it with just on the other side. I just give it... I am using the chisel edge of the brush. Again, you might want to just use a round. Let me know when you guys are done painting and you're looking through the comments. Give me a little shout out. Let me know what worked for you, what you liked, what brushes, what techniques. It will help me going forward to suggesting to people and new painters and old painters what we like. Can you see that just adds a little something? Adds just a little something. We've got the bottom half pretty well filled. Usually I work top to bottom so I don't put my hand in it. But because of this taking so long to dry, we've done it a little after. But I'm going to put my lights and darks up here. You might want to add more. I'm going to get my brush with the blue. I've got my black right next to my blue here. Just the blue by itself. A tiny bit of black in there. You don't want it too long way. Now it's more of a navy. My darkest around my edge. Start in the corner. See that dark navyish blue? That, of course, will cover a little better. And a primary blue more than a navy if you can find it. Because sometimes the navies have a little bit of, believe it or not, a little light pigment in there. And then when you go to add the white for these light bits of the sky, you can doing my primary blue with just a little black. I kind of like the way that comes across better. I don't want to use too much to get a gray. So I've got my brush off. I'm just going to dry that dark blue off and go back into just the primary blue again. And what I want to do is work where the paint's wet towards the middle. If I started in here and got all my wet paint and then came to as nice as this, now, of course, as we know from today, the paint is not drying very fast. But a wet and wet technique is nice. A little hard to get sometimes with acrylics, but like oils, you can blend and blend and blend. I try to work as fast as I have to get that paint to blend. If the conditions were different or the weather was different, that probably would have dried pretty fast. It's already a little dry. So that's why instead of working here, I'm going to go all around the edge to mix that dark blue into my primary blue again. I'm not blending too much. I don't want it haphazard. So I'm going to get just a little bit of light. I've got some white in my blue here a little bit. And can you see that lighter color there? Just a little lighter blue. I want to mix that in here, but right where my blue is a little wet, I'm blending it. Because I want darks, I want middle blue shades, I want light. You can go back and forth, and you could go back to just your dark blue. You could get a little light. You can see in my painting how light it is. That's purely accidental. I don't have a reason why it's lighter here. I just like to have contrast. So a little bit light here and there is all. And we just want to go as close. So now with just, you know, it could be the blue, it could be the lighter blue, anything but the dark is just the edge, but in the middle, use your phthalo or primary blue. And even nice light area here, if you wanted a little lighter, teeniest little bit of white. And you can go in and get like a really light area wherever you want. You say you want a little bit up in the corner here, you can add the teeniest touch of white because that. So now I'm just going to work down here. We do not have to be very careful and get right around there. Just go up as close as you can. The color's the same. It's going to blend. If you see it's very streaky, that's our sky. The only thing left on that sky that we're going to do is when this dries, we're going to get that moon on there. And then I'm going to show you how to spatter the snowflakes at the very end. All drying, so we're kind of going along pretty good. Hi Trish, yeah, I don't know what's up with the freezing of the day to film these classes shortly. So if we can get through today, this shouldn't happen going forward. I don't know if perhaps I am too far from the router. I'm not sure. Oh, Maureen, thank you. I was going to go and watch it after to make sure. The last video seemed to run pretty well as well. I don't know why it is freezing, but we will. Next time, I'm going to have a little bit different technique. If anyone has any suggestions, please reach out and let me know. But I'm trying to just slow down it when it freezes so that you can all catch up when it starts back up in a few seconds. So where are we? How are you guys doing? Are you caught up pretty much? Anything I can go back and show you? Just throw them out there in the comments because I am monitoring those. Thanks, Denise. Yeah, I'll be good to see it on the video. Okay, so the technique I'll talk about for the is pretty simple. What I do is, we've got the blue background. I go lightly over it with a very light wash of white. This, let me show you. And I'm going to do it with a really wet brush, and it's going to be kind of washy. I'm going to just mix a little bit of, it looks gray, but it's really black just with a lot of water. And they're little shapes like this. They're going to be like, and then not all exact. Don't bust a little squiggle and up. It's going to be, these are kind of like little dark feathers that they have on them. Can you see that's black paint, but with the water, it looks gray. Then we'll just lightly go over that with some. And then after that's dry, you can see we just put some little heavier white feathers wherever we want them over his little toenails. What would you call them? Little claws. And up here, we're going to go much heavier with the white around his eyes. You know what? Let's, and then if it looks, you know, then we're going to look at it and evaluate it. We might want nothing else. We might want more white, whatever you like the look of your snowy owl. But to start with, I'm going back to just a little tiny round brush. And we're just going to paint that little beak in. It's just a little upside down triangle. Nothing fancy, just that. And I'm going to get some clean white. I do a lot of techniques with washes, so it doesn't have to always be the acrylic paint heavy, trying to get a second coat and third coat. Sometimes we want it as a little wash. And you know what I'm going to do is get another paper plate because I have made a huge mess as usual. I've gotten way too much paint out as usual. Please just don't do it here. And how do you know if it's too much or too little water? Well, when you put it on the canvas, if it see it, you need a little more pigment. Paint like this so that you can see me, but I would probably have turned this upside down and worked. These are just little squiggle lines. They're very haphazard and random. Can you see? They're not all the same shape. Put on your paint, and if you'd like, it's a good idea how see-through it is. You want it it doesn't have to be a perfect shape of any sort. You could do anything, go all along here where that white feathers are going to be. It's more in this general area. But think of them as feathers, and they're layered. So we're starting in the back of his head. These are feathers. I'm going to go a little darker on some because we are going to put some nice to have them in a little variety. I would say go a little darker than I have there. Some are dark, some are more light. Right? But they're just little feather strokes. And we're going to leave, like I said, the eye area. And then we're going to work down this way and work right down. So, no, we're going to work tail up. You know why? The way the feathers would fall on the animal would be, they would fall, they'd be start at the tail, and then they would up. If we started here, they wouldn't really fall as nice and work down. So let's get a little bit more paint mixed. As I go, because this paint is so thin, it's drying pretty fast. So don't, feel like every, few brush strokes, if you need to, add more water. Get a nice variety, like I said. Some light feathers, some dark feathers. So we're going to start down here and just work in rows all the way to the top to about here. And see, I'm just doing little squiggle strokes. Some have the little higher tail, some on both sides. You can almost get, gosh, a good number of them before you have to reload your brush. Mine look like this. Yours could look like anything. Some of them could be thicker. They don't need to be thin like mine. They could be thicker, bigger, smaller. Some could just be little squiggles or comma strokes. Just little rows, not perfectly even. And I like the rough look of it. I don't need it to be, I'm putting my hand in this down here. I don't need it to be all perfect. If you do make mistakes, remember, you could just take clean water on a brush. And if it's still wet, you can just clean it right up. If not, you can just paint over it with the brown or whatever color you're needing to adjust. So I'm just going to keep on working. These are a little dark. I like that, but I want some lighter, so I'll just add a little bit of water and get some lighter ones. It's nature, so everything's going to be a little wonky and a little different. Nothing's perfect. Is it making sense to you guys, like what I'm doing now? Oh, Trish, you know what? That is going to, you will see it with the replay, but I'm going to go back on that for a minute for you. So let me put my feathers on my owl. I'll go back and show you the sky highlighting. It's pretty simple. I missed the beginning of watching. Yeah, okay, Tara, that's great, yeah. Okay, so let me finish my feathers and we'll go, and I'm going to highlight the sky a little bit so that those of you who missed it will see it without having to play the other video. So you could jump ahead and work on your owl, and we'll go back to the background, Trish. I started paint nights, quite some time ago, and had to pivot, of course, like everybody else in every other business right now. So the virtual classes are pretty new to me. I appreciate you guys watching, but I would love to have some critiques from you, and it won't hurt my feelings. I really want to do this right, and I have so many paintings I want to share. I just want to be able to do it correctly and in a format that works, and so it's just hard because I'm here talking to myself, and I'm used to being in person with you all. So please bear with me, but do let me know how I'm doing, and until we can get together again, we can paint this way, and even after we can get together again. This is kind of nice sometimes, just to be home, cozy, have your snack, and just get together virtually. Okay, so I'm going to leave him like that, and Trish, let me go back and show you. Let me see if I have a blank canvas even, or something I can show you on. Hang on, let me grab something, a blank canvas, so I can show you that technique. So it's pretty simple. You just want to work wet and wet. It's just my blue paint that we have, the primary or the phthalo blue. I've got a little white there. Hang on. I just mixed it with part. So when I'm doing, they're just a little darker. Paint has been taking too long to dry. I go in while I brush those two colors together so they have a nice blend. I don't want the dark to have a crisp line. So I'm blending this while it's wet, so I'm working outside in. If you want any light bits, you can take a little white into your blue get some nice light areas in there too. So instead of just being an all blue sky like our first coat or two, I go on top places. And then you can go in, even now if I want to, that paint's even a little wet still. Bring your lighter in, but just keep brush, just the brush by it into like the wet paint that's around. Really use that dry brush. It's great for so many techniques. And even if it's so that it sort of blends in, you can go just to keep an interesting sky. And it's pretty simple technique. And if you have any other questions, just like. Okay, so and the little feathers are all set now. They dry really quick because it was such thin and watered down paint. Look at how quick that dries. That would be more like watercolor. I think we can go ahead now, and I'm going to take one of my softer brushes. So for this, I don't want one of the bristle brushes. I just want a little, but we don't want to take our thick white from here and just paint it on top. And again, I'm only moving this off my palette because I made such a mess. I've got some white paint here. And I want to just put a lighter coat of white on top here. I'm going to try the white like this. But see how it's, so I've watered down my white a little bit because I just want to tone down that a little bit. And you might say, well, why didn't you just make that whiter or lighter gray when you made those feathers? Little gray bits on the snowy owl are in the hole. So I want to get that sort of look in my painting. I don't want it to look like somebody went to the owl on a Sharpie and kind of put those on. I want them to blend. I'm just brushing off my white, a little tiny bit of water. You'll know how much water or how it should look down a little more. If you put it on and it's too heavy, you can wipe feathers if you feel like you covered them too much. We can fix everything. People at the classes would be, listen, they don't come together till the last 15 minutes of class. It doesn't look like my neighbors. It's not that good. It doesn't look like yours. They all come out gorgeous, all in their own way. Okay, so this is a good base, dry. And let's put the pupils in, the black pupils in the eyes. Since we're right here, we've got the little small brush. It's just a circle right in the middle of that yellow. Just a circle. He'll come alive with his eyes. When I do pet portraits, we do pet portrait classes, and I do pet portraits. I paint their eyes first and their noses because they just need a face. Once you have the nose and the eyes and they have a face, it's easy. The rest is just copying the colors of their body and adding their little collars and their toys and all that. But once they have a face, you're on the right track. So I have a hard time working this way because you guys are watching. I would actually have to move this around, brace my hand, and then I could get a nice circle. But feel free that whatever it takes to get what you need. Look at, he's already coming alive. He looks so much better already. That won't take long to dry. Let me just wash out my other brushes here because I don't want to let them sit with paint on them. I'll just rinse them and then afterwards give them a good clean. Hi, Jan. Yeah, we keep freezing. The replay will not be frozen. I'm going to try to go a little slower so that when it's interrupted, I can come back to where we were. So just bear with me. I will be doing this a little differently next time. Okay. So there he is. And as you can see on my guy, I have some shading. I made these guys' eyes really big, I guess. My painting here were little smaller circles. So feel free to do them whatever size you like. I took a little brown orange and made a little wash here when this is all dry, so it's shadow. Like his little feathers are coming over his eye, it would cast a shadow. Then we'll put a little highlight in and he comes alive. I did outline the bottom here in a very washed out black paint. We could put that in now while we wait for that to dry, but whenever I'm doing detail work, fine lines, all that, I always add a little water to my paint. I'd like it to be more like ink. It depends on the brush too. You want a nice quality little brush with a nice point. You could really struggle and think, oh, I can't paint a straight line because it's probably the brush's fault. Sharpie, it's not cheating. You can do any kind of line work like that with a paint marker or a Sharpie. The Posca paint markers are fabulous if you have any of those. You can sign your name. You can add any of the little detail bits in with those markers. They're fabulous. My black. And actually, I'm wearing readers, and now I need stronger ones for the details. This just happened, like just happened. So just on the bottom, I think we need a little black outline just to define a little bit. So that's that. We will put that little shadow on his eyes when the black is dry, and the little pupil. The little pupil is just a little dot. We can make it with our brush. But remember, the back end of your brushes are fabulous all the time for making dots. If you need dots anywhere, look at this. They're perfect. Okay, so this white, and now like we did heavier white for the feathers, and I'm not going to do it now because I would put my hand in it, but I would maybe, if you needed to, and you could add heavier white here if you chose. So that's all up to you. You can look at the details. I look at it the next day, and all of a sudden with fresh, or I just really love it, it didn't look this good. And always let it sit, leave it, and look at it the next day. Okay, palette, the paint a little thicker. Consistency of the paint sometimes makes a difference. We have watered it down for some of the finer bits. We want it thick for the snow. So you can use consistency sort of to work into your paintings too, to make different to do different techniques and have different looks. Okay, so there wasn't much. I actually had a little more blue over there. We can shade with some blue if we need to. Others, I kind of, we lost, so I just took some white paint, a little thicker. His chest is whiter than this, so they're just little like comb shapes almost. Like they don't have to be perfect, but it's just a nice little feather shape that the. So I'm going to work from the chest and up because again, that's how the feather. I went on top with my. I'm just kind of put too tedious. I'm just going right on top, and I don't want his. Could go right on the edge, and it kind of makes this edge of him a little brighter white because he is a snowy owl. And there, just kind of let that sit for a second. We might go in and do some shading. What I want to do now before we do all of the work on the feathers on his eyes is just put that little shading in, and I'll show you that. And it's very small. You don't see much of it, but it's a nice technique if you're doing anything with eyes. It will give the eye a rounded look and a more dimensional look. I am just going to use shadow to be a little dark on the eyes here. Be a little careful if your pupil is wet. Mine are pretty dry. So there. Okay, so the shadow's there. Now you can take. It doesn't matter if it's upper left, upper right, as long as they're both the same. We don't want them. That little dot goes just right there, both the same place. There. So how are we doing? Oh, Patty, that's a great idea. Yes, I was taking a picture with your phone or holding it up in a mirror. It's amazing how you will see what needs to be fixed by doing either of those things. That's a great tip. Thank you for sharing that. That really feathers dry a little bit. My classes, and it could be any kind of with white, let it dry, and then we'll do yellow. So just get some white on your brush. You can use one of your flat brushes. You can use, your smaller brush, whatever it takes. I just plop my brush down where tracing and blah blah blah. I'm going to spiral it out, and can you see how the paint's again getting to be a dry brush? A little bit of white in the middle, so that yellow will be brighter. I am mixing my blue and it's still a little wet, but that's the idea. A little white, and then just with your brush, like with hardly any paint on it, just kind of scrape to get a nice yellow. But that's how I start anytime like this. You can almost see through here. I've done it with just whites, kind of heavy here, and then with the drier brush, just went out like that. You'll see the white shows, and it's just a little bit yellow on top of it. That white underneath really helps the yellow pop. If we did yellow on top of here, it would be green. So we are going to give that a minute to dry. And we can, while we're waiting for things to dry, work around his little nose and on his. I'm going to get some more white paint. And I'm just going to put in some feathers now. I'm using that same sort of stroke. I'm just going all around his eyes. Once, like right over, just a tiny bit. Can you see I'm just over the top? it's kind of in a circle-y shape. I've gone this way over each eye. It comes down over his nose. Doesn't have a nose. Well, he probably has a nose, but that's his beak. There's here. I want this to be. This kind of comes out over his head. This little bit. They have that look. He's coming along. What do you think? How are your owls? Technique for the sun's going to be cool. I feel bad that it's taken. It is kind of fun. All right. So, anyway, let's get him. Instead of his body being so compact, I want him to be a little bit more feathery. I like the way it looks because of the dark background, and I do this with the white. It's a little see-through. I kind of like that feather. And his little claws. And again, it's hard for me. I have to kind of step back and look at him from a distance a little bit. He looks a little thin to me. My guy looks a little rounder, but I just keep playing. Geez, I think I need to reshape him a little bit. Just with the white. I'm gonna kind of experiment here now. Just a little bit of gray. And I kind of want a little shadow under here. I don't think I was dark enough my little underlay of those gray feathers, so I can go more of a blue-gray. You can always just try something a little different. You don't have to follow my instructions always exactly if you have an idea. I've taken a little blue and black, a little bit of shading here and there. Just like under his wing here, might be a little darker. I like getting a dark base, and then the white will pop a little more. It looked a bit here and there. So it's almost like I'm going back with this bluey gray and sort of doing kind of the things I had underneath. It just wasn't as dark as I would have liked, so I'm just kind of fooling around with it here. It's just a matter of the watery gray about exactly where they are. I might want to do them a little more here, which would be under the wing. That might, see how the wing's now just popping up. And I want it very white here, but it's not going to hurt to put a little bit in, a little white. I think the light. Around his beak would be a little shadow too, so I'm going to go more of a little gray with that. That's what it looks like on mine there. And again, I'm painting the same painting again, and look how different it is. It's everybody's is different, and there's no way to make them all the same, and we wouldn't want to. Okay, a couple of little darks. And then I'm going to get back to that with the feathers on top. See how random? I'm not thinking about it. I'm just kind of white. Okay, so a little bit under his eyes. Okay. Actually, Patsy, it is not a gloss, but these aren't a specific gloss. I do buy the gloss paints when I want to paint on glass. They work good with if you're doing glass painting, and then you can bake them in the oven. But these are all, they're just acrylic. They're the ones that don't say matte or gloss. You can put a little spray on it. I have the Mod Podge spray, which I like for some of my pieces, which I like for the ceramics. But when you do put a little shine on your paintings, the colors do brighten up and deepen up. It is kind of nice to put afterwards. But as a matter of fact, these were the paint. Some of these they're not expensive. I know none of the best. It doesn't matter though. When I need a color, I just grab like the Craft Smart, the Apple Barrel. I get a lot of if I need colors that I use a lot of, I would use big quarts from Blick, sometimes half gallons. Blick Blick has some great craft and art supplies, and they have sales often and free shipping a lot of times. If you wanted to take a look at that website, they have some really pretty much anything you would need for any kind of art and craft project. Folk Art is another good brand. I know paints have been scarce during the whole pandemic. You go into Michael's still and the shelves are empty. I have found good luck at Joann's actually with stock of paints, and I could probably outfit Michael's with the paint I have. So it is nice to kind of go through some things. The difference I'm noticing in my owl, now that let's look at it side by side, is I painted those pupils huge here. Look of them a little bit when they're a little small. You got your base top, and then under here I just took a little wash of a light. So you can kind of do yours any way you want. I did have a little highlight on his beak, just a little bit of, it's just like a little highlight. You can make it a little bit brighter with a heavier stroke. I think I put in more feathers on that little beak. I'm gonna spatter snow over that whole painting. I kind of like the way he looks. I'm going to go ahead and, you know, I was gonna go ahead with my feathers, but this is sort of dry white because my paint was wet underneath. It was blue. See how now it's brighter? So I'm just going over that a little bit so it's a little brighter. Any paint on him. See that nice look you get because of the texture of the canvas? Okay, that won't take long to dry. We'll let that go. Let's finish up a few feathers on him. Well, it might be tough while you're painting. Get a picture in the comments. I was going to say, put a picture in the comments if you have any questions or want me to look at your painting. But ideas on what you might want to do or finish. And agenda, just putting little white lines here and there. If a place on him looks a little too dark, just throw white like we, you know, went with that wash before. And I did like the idea where they're a little feathered here. I didn't do that on my original painting. I like the way that looks a little more. There, what do you think? How do you think my owl? Think it's done? Think I should leave him? What do you guys think? Any comments? Just put them in there. I'm still kind of watching you. I appreciate you guys that are still painting along with me. And we really are pretty much done. We're going to do the pretty quick technique. How many have used the toothbrush and done the spattering technique for your snow on your paintings? Really works well and it is fun. Brush or a bristle brush and some clean water. So I'm going to grab some clean water, let that dry a second. I'll be right back. I'll rinse out these brushes. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, if you all have any questions at all, post them in there. That is almost ready. Around a bit, and usually have my hairdryer handy, but I just hate the noise of it, and I actually don't have it handy right here today, or I maybe would give it a shot with that. All right, let's see, just about. So it's just the yellow, and I'm going to get a little fresh yellow because what I put on my palette earlier is a little dried up. So I'm going to get a little bit of fresh paint here. I'm down to the end of this, but I want to use it all up. So there's a little paint. And like I said, I put way too much paint out on my ad. I tried to do that. It doesn't seem to work. All right. So now pencil brush. But remember, I go to do another technique or another coat of something. I want to make sure my brush is dry. If you've rinsed it out, really squeeze all of the paint, the water out that you can. A drip because the water is up in the ferrule and decides to really just squeeze out the moisture that's in there. So now I'm taking some of that bright yellow and I'm going to position. Again, I'm doing just what we did before with the white. I am painting. I want to use up all the paint, so I want it to be, I'm just roughly doing, see the dry brush technique it is? It's just paint, a little bit of a different shade, and just like this all the way out till your paint just kind of fades away. It's looking a little bright to me, bright. I want it to be a little soft through there. When that's dry, I'm going to just pop in there and touch that up. The more I put this paint on, the more it's taken off you are just taking the paint off that you had put down. So really have some patience. I don't have it right here now, but I'm going to touch that little bit up after. I want to jump in and show you how to do your snow. And then that's pretty much it, unless anyone has any questions or anything. So I'm going to grab that toothbrush, and I've got my fresh water, and I've got a good bit of white paint here. So all you need to do is I take a little water on my toothbrush and kind of just mix it in. Sometimes it won't spatter right for you. Just keep kind of playing with the amount of water in the paint. But really, it's just white on your toothbrush, and you're just spattering. This is a pretty fine little snow. If I add a little water, it's going to get a little bigger snowflakes. And then some I actually put on with the back end of my brush. So we've got a nice little light scattering of either snow or stars, whatever, or both. Now I'm adding a little more water to that white. You don't want it so that you spatter it and the paint runs down the side, but you could always try it. You know what? You do get these big globs sometimes. Just kind of wipe it off while it's wet. It's not, you can't avoid that. So that's a little more there. It's kind of a fun technique though, isn't it? Some little bigger ones there. So I just do this as much or as little as you like. It can go down over the snow here. I like the way it looks on the dark bits and over the fence. That is enough for that. And now if you see, I've got these bigger little dots on mine. I did that with the back end of the brush. I wanted a nice contrast of some little tiny dots and then some bigger. So I've got my little brush, the back end, and then you just put them where you want. The first one out is always a little bigger, and then they get a little smaller, so it's kind of nice to have that variety of sizes. And I'm just random any way you want to put them, all haphazard. There, I think that's enough. What do you guys think? I'm going to call that done. Hey, Cindy Lee, you could post it, I think, right on the page in the comments. If not, private message it to me. But try to put it on the page so I will know. I changed the settings to public, so hopefully you can put that on there. I'd love to see and have everybody else see everyone's paintings. So that, I think, I'm going to call done. I will come back later and fix that little bit. I might even add a little bit of white to it. You can see my painting here. It was a little bit of yellow with white, and I have it more on the white side, which I kind of like for the painting. Again, some of those things that you can just come back to and fix later. So what do you think? Yeah, let me. I'm wondering if you. Yeah, I don't see the little place either, Cindy Lee, actually now. We'll play around with it, but please just send it to me in a direct message and I'll post it, okay? Thanks. All right, so let me turn the camera around here now because I'd like to see you guys. Rotate. Okay, hey, I feel kind of weird with really work on my techie skills and get some better way. I'm probably upside down. Am I upside down? I'm upside down, right? Oh, yeah. Like I said, techie skills, not. So I will, and look at, talk about being right here. Thanks for painting with me. Thanks for your patience. And I have, like I said, put some questions in the comments if you'd like. Send me a message if you have any questions, suggestions. I really appreciate it. This is probably, it's my second big long class live. I've done I pop in all the time and do a little live something or another, but I want to make sure it's just right for you guys too. Welcome, Patsy. You're welcome, Kay. Thank you guys for coming in. And like I said, if anybody's here that didn't sign up or wonder what we're doing, up in the description, you can click on this. You will get the email with the supply list and everything else that you need. So, do I have paint on me too? Yikes. Look at Anyway, thank you guys. I'm going to let you go. Enjoy your Sunday. You're welcome, Joan. You're welcome, Patty. Oh, Cindy Lee, that's great to hear. We have to catch up soon. I miss you guys. So Cindy Lee is in one of my art friend groups. And Joanne, I will. When I hang up, I'll FaceTime you. I'd love to see what you guys are working on. And okay, any questions? Like I said, let me know. Thank you guys for spending time with me. I appreciate it. And any suggestions on painting, send them along. Thank you guys. I will see you next time. Bye.